fall asleep this afternoon in this session. This is the last technical session. My name is Maya Igarashi. You might have seen me just at the opening plenary session in the morning. But I'm going to open this session, and you won't be able to fall asleep because it's going to be very practical and then interactive session. So we are going to really hear and then do some exercises to see your insights, how different practices are in place, being done in different contexts. So throughout the 2 days, you might have seen different sanitation models. As our title said here, sanitation service model, what is or what are sanitation service models? Two particular ones that I could recall from plenary sessions. First in the morning yesterday, Professor Juliet mentioned about climate resilient sanitation models. If you recall, there were 3 models that she presented. And in the afternoon session, Antoinette from SNB mentioned about different financial models. So what are we talking about here when we talk about sanitation service models? And then that's really the core of this session, and then looking forward to get your insights on that. And also we will going to see here some practical examples of what's happening in Bangladesh and possibly elsewhere. So with that note, I would like to start the session, and also, as we are relatively a smaller number of colleagues, if you find, excuse me, if you find someone next to you, could you have a quick chat? Hopefully someone, if not the person right next to you, it's someone that you know already. Perhaps find someone you haven't talked over the 2 days. So, we are almost the end of the conference. So let's use this opportunity and share and mingle to quickly chat about the sanitation service models that you know of. What kind of sanitation models that you can think of? Examples. Please chat for the next few minutes by introducing yourselves if you don't know each other, just with the person next to you. Okay, so let's hear some of those examples that you think or you heard that you didn't think of perhaps from your friends, neighbor sitting next to you. Anyone would like to share? What's your vision, image, practice of sanitation service model? Anyone like to share? I shared mine earlier. The one that I heard during the event, but anyone? Yeah, you could just share.
Can we have the next slide, please? Got it. All right. Often when you come to a session, somebody is going to tell you the results of a study, the findings of some research. We're not going to do that. We're going to talk to you about a study we are starting. And you can say, oh, I want to hear results and findings. I don't want to see someone's idea for a study. But if we get your ideas for the study, and we talk about this study we are going to do, then hopefully the study can be better. And hopefully the discussion will be of interest to you. So, previously, WaterAid has done a study of management models for rural water supply. It was really useful. It was a helpful study. It was useful for WaterAid, useful for partners in country, all good. Now we want to do a similar analysis for sanitation. And we often talk about toilets, and we talk about FSM, fecal sludge management, but we don't really have a simple language for talking about whole chain models in rural and urban contexts. Whole chain from toilet containment, emptying and transport, treatment, disposal, and reuse. So we want to look at the whole chain, and we think that this study will be useful to WaterAid in Bangladesh and globally for program design, for policy support, for cross-country learning, and we hope this study can be useful to others in the sector. We're going to do this study in 2 phases. So the first phase is a mapping, top line, light touch mapping across 10, maybe 15, maybe even 20 WaterAid countries. We'll develop a typology, a classification of sanitation service models, and an understanding of what models exist in Bangladesh, in Zambia, in Malawi, all over the place. We will look at the whole sanitation chain, considering rural areas, peri-urban, small town areas, and big cities. And we will consider both good models and bad models. So a good model is sustainable, climate resilient, inclusive, safely managed sanitation, and a bad model is what exists around us often. And we need to develop a classification, a typology that allows us to achieve this study. So we're going to be talking today about phase 1. What we would like from this session, we want to understand what you understand by sanitation service model. What does that mean to you? We want to explore how we can make this study useful to the sector for all these things, for policy, for program design, for cross-country learning, for private sector engagement. Maya, shall I hand over to you now? Maya's now going to take you through a group activity.
Right before we go in, because we are so efficient, with that introduction, do you have any question about this thinking, our plan of this small study? No? It's clear? Yeah? Excellent. Okay, then let's keep going. So, as I said earlier, we'd like to have initial quick exercise in groups to look at one context, whether it's Bangladesh, typical that you would think of as rural setting. One group looking at typical town, peri-urban setting. Another group looking at more bigger urban setting, bigger town setting. And how many groups are we creating?
So the number of groups, I think we're good. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 groups.
Okay. So if you are from outside of Bangladesh, we can also create one group looking at another country's setting, or you can join the Bangladeshi group to do this group discussion. And what we're going to look at in that template that the guy already created and that you have at your table, maybe if you can come up here, because if you're sitting there, people behind could not see what you were putting out. So we are going very in a manual way rather than putting on this big screen. But, you know, it's the end of the day, so it's better to give everything more physically. So we are going to look at who does it. Who does it? Throughout the sanitation service chain, from the toilets until the treatment, disposal, if not reuse, household, private operator, community-based organization, is that a public agency? And who pays? At each segment of the sanitation service chain. In a rural area, it might not fit all, but it's okay. And then once you quickly do this situation analysis, as a group, please look at what the situation, where are the challenges, what can we improve? So identify 3 key challenges in that model or in that situation that you identified or you just mapped up.
So if the toilet is constructed by the householder, you put an orange post-it note there. If the toilet is constructed by a private sector operator or a CBO, you put yellow there. And if the toilet is constructed by a public agency, you put green there. Okay? Your moderators will explain. And then here you can do with marker pen. Okay? And remember, we want you to consider one typical household in your context.
Excuse me, at the technical engineers in the back, could you please put back that slide on the screen, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, you're doing an incredible job. You are doing this activity superbly well. Thank you. I'm going to give you another 5 minutes, and then from each table I will ask one interesting thing from your analysis, very short. Another 5 minutes. Okay, I know when your brain is working and you're in discussion, it is difficult to stop, but now I need to gently call your attention. I'm going to ask each group for one interesting thing. But we have to be quick because time is short. So when you say your one interesting thing, 10 seconds. 10 seconds of interesting thing. Yeah. It's a business negotiation. Okay. I'm going to ask the gentleman in the pink shirt beside Yasin. Yasin, please tell us your name and who you're with, and tell us something interesting from your analysis.
From our analysis.
From your,
so in fact,
your group analysis.
This is the first time we are thinking about this one, about rural. This is the interesting thing, first one. The second one is, in fact, we don't know. So why the rural people and how they do this one. And we just revise our experiences, we just revisit our area and thinking that want to put some inside here. This is another interesting thing. And the third interesting thing is...
I said one interesting thing, man.
I see. So I think about more than that.
Because you have a beautiful shirt, 3 interesting things.
One free, thank you. And third interesting thing is finally, we 4 and 5. Finally, we jump in here and to tell that, so this should be included here. There's another interesting thing of this group work. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Can I suggest this table here? Can someone from this table, what context were you considering? And good, we are going to hear a woman's voice, which we want.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Maisha. I work for IDE Bangladesh as a senior officer for partnerships. So our table, we were looking at the rural, mainly the hill tracts in Bangladesh. And one interesting thing, I'm actually going to steal one from that table and give you 2 very quickly. But one major interesting thing was while we were trying to analyze how the sanitation system or the chain works in CHT or hill tracts in this case, we were able to see that much of the work or the projects that are being done are mainly now still focused in providing access. So the other columns, which is emptying and treatment, are much further down the line where we need work.
Good.
So that is one key thing. And just a little bit the political context is a bit tricky there, so yeah, access is also quite difficult even then. Yeah.
Thank you. And your name was?
Maisha.
Maisha, thank you so much. Next table, and quickly. Still writing? Okay. Sometimes slow is good. It means thorough. Madam. From this table, what context were you considering?
I'm Nurun Nahar, working at WaterAid Bangladesh,
Hi,
an
Nura.
advocacy expert. We consider the coastal rural area. Our main findings is the coastal area. These issues are not considered even thinking by the government and the rural people. And the second thing, the climate resilient technology option are absent. And the third is lack of awareness among the service provider as well as the common people are the people who are living in the coastal area.
Okay, thank you. And I think there is a language issue here, because when I say one in English, you guys understand three. I'm sure it's a Bangla thing. Okay, next time, it's fine. Your comments are very, very good.
So it's going to speak.
Actually, go there.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Shoma. I am from BRAC.
Good to meet you, Shoma.
So our topic was for slum area. We have identified that households, mostly 60%, are responsible for toilet and containment. And then private agencies are mostly 40% responsible for toilet and containment purpose. For emptying, public agencies are 20% responsible and households are 80%. That's based on our perception actually. For treating or disposal or reuse, public agencies are 80% responsible and private or CBO is 20%. We identified key challenges. One is availability of land. Two is lack of awareness. Three is limited access to basic utilities. So as from these challenges, we identified that this is a bad model actually. So to convert it in a good model, we need to increase awareness, and treating should be done by public and private agencies, and we need to increase access to utilities, and a situational survey should be done also. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And with apologies to the rest of the groups, we are going to close it there because time must go on. We will collect your sheets and your analyses will be very useful. Maya, are you going to take over here? Because now we want to... What do we want to do, Maya?
Okay, let's move on and question.
We don't have time.
Oh, not that one.
Questions later.
Okay?
So we hope towards the end we have time for you to ask questions but also provide further feedback, because really this is helpful for us. But for the session, we have quite a few distinguished guest speakers available. So we will start to hear some of the existing models in the country and elsewhere. Briefly, what do they look like? So I will pass the mic over to first Siraj from WSUP. So please, to the, yep.
You've got 4 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, okay, thank you. I got the time for 4 minutes. And here I'm coming from water sanitation for the urban poor. And we have developed a model for private-public partnership models. And we are working mainly in the urban areas. And we have successfully doing our works in Dhaka, in Chittagong, in Rangpur, and different other cities as well as we are expanding. What about these models? Please look at that. And we have done here is all about, we are connected the regulatory authorities with the private operators. And the private operators provided the lease, and we, with the supports of the development fund, we are providing the vacuum tags and other sources of things what need to be supported. And finally, it goes, the private operators providing the services to the community, final level community. In this model, we are just like focusing mainly the LIC people, low income community peoples, and we have that exact agreement that minimum 30% of the LIC peoples need to be covered from this private operators, and they are doing that accordingly. We have here, for the SWIP models, the WASA team is also here. Mr. Mehdi is here. I'm requesting just for 1 minute about how WASA is working and how the SWIP models is working for last 1 year here, if you are saying that. I'm just taking the last minute.
Thank you, bhai. Myself, Mir Mehdi Hussain, Head of Community Program Consumer Relation Division of Dhaka WASA. We are starting this SWIP model in 2015 with UNICEF 2 vacuum tankers. From that time, still we are working with our 4 private company with our vacuum tanker, 7 vacuum tanker we got from NGOs, and we leased out at that. So this is running very well. But what is the main situation is we are having some problem because the vacuum tanker is experiences lot of work there. So we have few vacuum tankers. So we require more vacuum tankers to run the whole city septic tank empty. So this is from Dhaka WASA side.
Thank you, Mr. Mehdi. And we are thinking like that this model is really workable for the urban areas, especially for the major cities, Dhaka, Chittagong, and other city corporation levels. Whereas for the rural areas, we do have different models like CBOs and others. WhatsApp is working closely with that, and other financial models, and they're developing it. And we believe that if we can succeed with these SWIP models throughout the country, it can be helpful for treatments and the next phases of the water from toilets and others. Yeah, may we have some questions from the audience? One question, okay.
Please.
Can you please share the mic?
Sorry, 1/3.
Sorry, thank you for.
Yeah.
In fact, how many households is covered by this model?
Yeah.
Or for rural area, single household, is it possible to provide that one?
Yeah.
And for camp, Rohingya camp
Yeah.
area, how we can install this one? Is it feasible or not?
Yeah.
Thank
First
you.
of all, this is only for the non-sewerage network area, first of all. And we do have the limited capacity of the trunk size, as you know. So yes, obviously we can use that for the Rohingya areas if we can use that. If there is access to road. If there is access to road, we can do that. We believe that we can work there as well. Okay.
It's a manual FGR,
Yeah.
and in the Rohingya response is 4B.
Okay. Okay. There are some policies out there, and I'm going to guide.
Sorry, I'm doing it, right? Thank you very much. And it's great to hear actually that we need more vacuum truck because there are more poods to collect. So always the challenge even to collect them or get the demand. So with that, we will continue this marketplace a little bit and then get to know more. Next presenter is Saledin from Practical Action. Are you going to present this? No, right? You have something.
Good model.
Yeah, okay.
Nice.
Please go ahead.
This model.
Yes. Okay, we are rushing very limited time. So in a typical city scenario, Poroshobha, they're actually the responsible entity to ensure emptying service and all that. So what Practical Action is doing, as an example, from our working experience in Faridpur municipality, over there, the scenario is, from bottom left, you're seeing that the customers, like households, basically household waste and their fecal waste is collected by a pit emptier, and over there, they're actually normally informal workers are doing this emptying, giving this emptying service, and household waste collectors through a tricycle van, they are collecting household waste, and they take it to a treatment plant integrated waste disposal system in Faridpur, where fecal waste and municipal waste all comes together, including plastic waste. So over there, on the bottom right, you're seeing that the treatment plant from plastic waste, we are producing pyrolysis oil using a technology called pyrolysis technology, and from the compost, through composting, we are producing organic compost. The plant operator, they can sell it to the market, to the farmers. So these pit emptiers, they're actually, they were earlier informal workers. So what we did, we formed cooperatives. So in line with municipality management, so we formed multi-stakeholder steering committee, where household owners, municipal officials, these emptiers, they were in committee, so that everyone can share their expectations, requirements. So here you can see these supporting worker cooperatives, and how we are forming these cooperatives. At the beginning, when we talk with them, we give them a vision, a dream, like what they can do. So we give them assistance, necessary support to develop their cooperatives, and then we give some trainings to build their capacity so that they can form their business. And then to start their business, we give them equipment, sludge cutter, emptying devices, and then we also train them with personal health and safeguard. Earlier, what it used to happen, like people, these workers, informal workers, they use their bare hands, and sometimes many of you have noticed news lines that people died while working in septic tank. So to overcome that scenario, we train them, inform them, and then we provide them PPEs and other materials. And then nowadays we are working on to form their network at city level and then at national level. And the National Cooperatives Association of Cooperatives, so that their voice can be heard by the government or other local government divisions. So their requirements and the tariffs, their insurance coverage, they are very low-paid employees. So their minimum wage gap need to be also overcome. So I'm not taking much time. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. So you wanted to share this, but perfect. You are on the...
If there are any question, please ask one-to-one. I can answer you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sarakim. So, as you see already here, we would like to now invite from DPHE, Tawhidur, Rahman Bhai, technical expert. Floor is yours.
So good afternoon, everyone. So all of you heard about the SWIP model and PPP model. So we did an analysis. This is one of the compilation or amalgamation of all business model available in Bangladesh. So we studied in 16 cities, 16 municipalities, and compiled in a short version of what kind of business model is available, are practicing in these cities, like 4 types of model, like public sector led model, LGI owned and operated, so municipality or city corporations owned the whole systems and they operated the treatment plants. The second one is the public-private partnership model. You heard about the amazing work by the practical actions. So these are the public example of public-private partnership models. And third one is the private sector or community-led service level agreement model. So this practice in the Jamalpur, Meherpur, Khulna, and I think Faridpur is also practicing this service delivery model. And fourth one is the hybrid model, like the LGI owned and operated by private sectors, this hybrid model. So we suggest among all these 4 models, we suggest for based on the cities populations and the revenue collections, we suggest on hybrid model for different cities. So these are the 4 models, typologies of models, and we have a published document at DPHE's website. So this is freely available, so you can download this business model. I think this is a good knowledge product, and for this study, this will be valuable for referring all the cities models, and I think this can be replicated in rural context also. So thank you for giving me the chance to talk. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you already for your recommendation on this study. Very useful. So we are going to have a time for question and answer a little bit later on. We'd like to start now the panel discussions to hear some of the feedback that perhaps they can bring from the group discussion. Do we have any slide on this? No. This one. So we have two distinguished guests and also the chair for this discussion. So while the stage is set, thank you for already coming in. I'd like to invite Mr. Alain Paul, the Managing Director of RFL Group. And then Ms. Vida Duti, Country Director Ghana of IRC. Please give a round of applause to our panelists and our distinguished moderator of this panel discussion, Mr. Guy Norman, WaterAid.
Not very distinguished. Thank you so much, and we will give you opportunity for questions after we have talked to our distinguished guests. Questions about the presentations or about the responses of the panelists, or any questions you might have. But first, we're going to ask some questions to our guests, who I will introduce again, Mr. Alain Paul, who is MD of the PRAN-RFL group. And many of you are Bangladeshi, and you will know, but those of you who are not, if I understand correctly, PRAN-RFL Group is one of Bangladesh's biggest manufacturing and distribution conglomerates, working across multiple sectors, but including, importantly, sanitation. And RFL Group is the Bangladesh manufacturer and distributor for Lixil toilets, including the Satapan series. Correct. Vida Duti is country director of IRC in Ghana, and Vida has many years of experience in the sanitation sector and the development sector. I know Vida from way, way back, and I think she brings an interesting perspective from another country, a low middle income country, which has significant wealth, significant natural wealth, and is making progress in sanitation. So enough from me, I will shut up. I'm going to turn, I think, to Vida first, and I'm just going to ask you if you have any reflections on the discussions in your group, your table group.
So, thank you very much. I think I was fortunate. At my table, we had a number of practitioners who are from Bangladesh. So they shared very interesting perspectives on the model that is being operationalized in the areas that we looked at. In that, as we have in many places, we realized that the focus has been on access, mainly supplied by the household themselves. There isn't much government intervention going on there, and so all the emphasis is on containment, limited opportunity for transport and emptying. Nothing is being done about treatment. We also discussed a bit about the setting and how that impacts on the model that is being implemented or not. So it was an interesting discussion that we had going on in our group.
Thank you so much. Could I get another mic, please? I appreciate that. Thank you.
And just to say a bit about the conversations, my observation about the conversations. In the conversations that we just continue to have, I realize that the issues are very similar for most of the places in the rural water setting, but then the context is also key, and so we need to pay attention to that. I also noticed that even though we have concentrated on access in the past, there are a lot of efforts currently going on to look at other alternatives to addressing the challenge, but probably we don't have the full information, and that makes this conversation about mapping the various service delivery models very interesting for the sector.
And if I can just say one thing, I will come to you, please, sir. And if I can just say one thing, Ghana is a big country with a wide range of ecosystems. So you range from very dry areas in the north to very wet. It's a very different country to Bangladesh in many respects, but it has a range of different.
Sure. I could just think back at the topography of Ghana, the different cultural groups that we have. So in the north, the culture context there is completely different. Mostly we have Muslim community. It's a dry area, so geographically, something that could apply in the south may not apply there. The central part of Ghana is a forest belt with different also tribe groups with different culture. And then we also have people living along the coasts with different cultural understanding and context. And within that are also pockets of ranges of the economic status in urban and rural water areas. So we all have very similar characteristics, but as I said, even with that, the situation may differ from one place to the other.
Thank you so much, Vida, and you can keep the microphone. Mr. Paul, we are so happy to have you with us today, to have someone who is so critically important in the business sector. And I know you have been listening in on the group discussion behind you, and you've heard some of the presentations. I wonder if you have any initial reflections from the perspective of the private sector, from the perspective of your particular group, and from the perspective of innovation.
Thank you. So whenever you people are discussing, you are mostly discussing point and challenges of urban. But Bangladesh is made of rural 80%, right? So being the largest corporate like RFL, whenever we think of any development of products and services, we think of internations, all 200 million people. So my honest request would be NGO, WaterAid, everybody, that don't think independently. Think holistically, integrated way, and don't forget commercial part also. We back up the commercial part, and we find that whenever anything comes commercially viable to the mass people, that model works. So sanitary models that we're working, so think about villages, right? How they make their sanitary, how they make the toilet, how do they use, and what they do with the waste, right? If we look into those, then we can give solution one by one. If the price of making toilet is economic, then you can force the villagers, poor villagers, to make one toilet, modern toilet. So where RFL can help is that making those toilet, buying it from the market or shops and install it very easily, cost effectively, then we can force them making whatever toilets they need. Then how do they use it, right? They need sanitary wares. If they don't have that economically buying capacity and capability, they won't buy it. One simple thing I can tell you that nowadays, in the old days, all the waste got naturally decomposed. No need of handling those waste. But nowadays what happened, the line of sanitary is connected with toilet as well as soap and other chemicals. That kills also, bacteria of the toilet. Then, no natural compost anymore. So what we can do, we can just divide two lines. One is, sanitary, another is the plumbing, right? So if those get, separated, then, all the waste can be composted naturally and no, money needed those compost, right? So then it is a matter of how to teach the plumbers what should be our plumbing system, right? We sell all the plumbing materials and also we do train of our plumbers. Then, if NGO works alone, right, without integrations of private concern, it might not work, right? So let's work together with government, private, and also NGOs. Then many problems we can solve. That's my perception from RFL Group, from corporate business corporate house.
Thank you, sir. And that raises, please, yes. And that raises interesting questions that have occurred to me too in this discussion. I noticed that invited colleagues from WSUP, from Practical Action, and from DPHE, they talked about sanitation service models in the urban context. And of course, that is critically important. But I think sometimes we forget to think about the whole chain in rural contexts. I noticed that our colleague from DPHE, and I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name, sir. Toby. Thank you, Toby. Suggested that the work done by excellent work done by DPHE in Dhaka might be expandable, generalizable to rural contexts, and we hope to see that. So just continuing to explore this thread a little, Vida, do you have any comment on this issue? Do you think when we think about the sanitation chain, we're doing good thinking about urban, but we're sort of forgetting about rural? Do you agree with that, or am I wrong?
I agree that we've paid less attention to the rural area when it comes to providing services along the sanitation chain. But there's a reason probably for that. Over the years, we focused on basic sanitation, and the idea was just find a solution to contain and ensure that we have open defecation free. So there's been a lot of emphasis on ensuring open defecation. We are seeing progress on that, and I think it's high time we begin to look at rural sanitation beyond just containment and ensuring that we have open defecation free. There's been some challenges in doing that. For urban area, you can operate at scale within a concentrated population. So it's very much attractive to the private sector and others that might come in to transport. The volumes of the liquid waste are also huge. So it makes economic sense to treat. Unlike the rural areas where usually we have scattered and small population sizes. In the rural areas, probably it may not be attractive to the private sector to travel a long haul just to go and empty the waste. Most of it is also in situ. So then after some time, it gets into the soil. So how do we look at that? And therefore, it's high time, if we really want to shift to real and true safely managed sanitation services in the rural area, to look at the appropriate solutions to address the sanitation chain for the rural area. Probably just picking the urban and fitting it for the rural area may not work.
Thank you so much, and excuse me, I just went to check with my timekeeper. Let's continue this just a little bit. Mr. Paul, you mentioned, and you said to everybody in the room, you said NGOs don't forget the commercial part, and I think most of us will agree with that, and most of the organizations in this room are striving to have better engagement with the very, very important private sector. And you made this very interesting point about separating fecal waste from plumbing waste, which may contain bleach and soap and other chemicals which impede the decomposition process, the digestion of fecal waste. But what I'm going to ask you, from your perspective, as here a representative of the private sector, as a representative of your particular group, considering this question of how to improve the whole chain and how to ensure that fecal waste is properly managed in rural areas, what suggestions can you bring to us?
Yes, so far I know that in village areas, most of the people buy their toilet or make their toilet with help of NGO, because sometimes NGO helps them financially. So when NGO is supporting them, they should tell them who should be the plumbers and where the plumber buys the product. If they buy the product from, from some RFL shops or XYZ shop, then, we are deeply connected with all the plumbers of the country, right? We can tell them what should be the line, how it should be. And NGO should not forget to tell them also that this money I'm giving, you have to spend this way so that your particular toilet becomes scientific and, healthy and environment friendly, right? So we can take one part is training the plumbers, right? When they're coming, it is not only selling the product. We have to look into that the uses of the product properly, right? So that ultimate purpose gets solved. And my request would be NGO that whenever you disbursing money, please tell them to come to proper channel so that things gets right from day zero.
Understood. And there is one more thing that I wanted to ask you before letting you free. I noticed when I saw the Lixil exhibit outside, and if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to have a look, the Lixil stand, and this shows the Satapan range, and it also shows pit liners, and pit liners are one way of extending this innovative thinking and plastics technologies beyond the toilet to containment and improving containment. Can you tell us something about the experience and with pit liners and possibilities going forward?
The pit liners in Bangladesh is made of RCC, which is heavyweight ring and definitely costly. Instead of that, we have developed one pit liner is called fiber reinforcement plastics.
Again?
Fiber reinforcement plastics, FRP, fiber, right? Little bit expensive, but if you look at long lasting, it is probably 10 times more than RCC ring. And that is very easy to handle and install also, right? So we are still thinking alternative to FRP is recycled plastics. We have one responsibility of recycling our plastic. So if we can make our ring made of recycled plastic, I'm sure that it will be half of RCC ring. And it's very easy to install, right? And it is as effective as the RCC ring. So that might help the rural people to install those very easily, and they can save also cost, because sometimes we force them to have the modern toilet, but we don't know how they will afford it, right? So looking at the affordability part, I must say that it is our responsibility, social responsibility, to build up some economic products like pit liner and give it to the mass people so that they can have the modern toilet.
We look forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I'm not going to let you go there, but I would at this point like to say thank you to our distinguished panelists. Thank you so much, and request a brief a long round of applause.
Thank you.
And what I'm going to do now, Maya, if you're okay with this, I'm ad-libbing a little bit. I'd like to, if I can ask you to stay, I'd like to invite Salakin, Siraj, and Toby to the podium, and then I will ask the audience if you have any questions for us, for our panelists, or for our presenters. So, Salakin, Siraj, Toby, can I ask you to come to the stage? Please, please.
Stand here, along with them.
That's also fine. Yeah. No, please come to the... You prefer to stand? I don't...
It's
You
okay.
can stand, you can sit, anything. So...
Apologies earlier, we cut you off. That we were going to go through fast all this discussion, very insightful discussion. So now it's your time. Anyone have questions, any reflections? I'd like to come back, but I know you spoke already. Is that okay to give a fast another person to share? Sorry.
But also has a very beautiful shirt.
Yes, so you're competing both, but I will come back.
Thank you, Maya. I'd like to say RFL, PRAN-RFL Group Managing Director. I want to request you to come to the CBOs. They are forming, most of the people is LIC, because they need some business model. They are also involved with the paid services. We NGOs and our municipalities will help you. Thank you.
So it's a great pleasure. So if we get chance, we will work with you. We'll go to your office and work elaborately and deeply. Thank you.
Me? Thank you for the opportunity again. I have a small, very short questions. It's also belongs to corporate. One is, there are so many business, there are so many things that you already mentioned about plumbers, about other actors who engage with this one. But is there any plan of PRAN-RFL or your plans to, I found it in the previous session, and this is the first time I am facing you, or I am learning WASH. So they told about climate smart or climate resilience sanitation. So most of the things, we found that PRAN-RFL means plastic. So when are you thinking like that regarding sanitation and other things to make it climate friendly? Thank you.
So if you look at all the Satopan development, you will find that those are very much climate friendly and healthy. We have developed one low commode pan, which has a flip on it, right? So that flies cannot go in and carry the waste and spread the diseases. Okay, so that is also very innovative. This way, whatever humanly possible to provide climate-friendly, environment-friendly, and healthy sanitations, we are there. You'll be happy to know that we have a brand called Shine. We produce all the economic bathware. I can remember one product is only 25 taka, which is a soap case or something like that, right? 25 taka, which is less than a chocolate price. And this way, we are developing a lot of products which can be affordable by the mass people, the rural people, so that entire sanitation gets improved. And over last 10 years, we sold out billion pieces of bathware that made our sanitation improved and being up to this level in the country. Thank you for your questions.
Thank you very much. Yes, next question over there.
Thank you so much. So my name is Shajib. I work with UNICEF in Cox's Bazar. So as a sanitation practice in the field, and sorry, the question again goes to the managing director with the PRAN. So we have seen there is a gap in products. It came as a discussion also. So all the toilet cleaners that we are using is heavy chemicals or acids. So we found there is a gap of organic, eco-friendly organic toilet cleaners. So have PRAN-RFL or any other groups that have ever thought of investing into researching or find it as a probable business items?
Thank you. Wonderful questions. We have a brand called Swift, right? So for these chemical things, and I will put up this issue to my R&D team, how we can make those chemical, environment friendly, right? So this is my homework for today. I'll take this point to my R&D team, and we'll develop something that is not harmful for the health and environment. Thank you very much for questions. And thank you for giving me homework.
Hi, so my question is for you, but I honestly don't know who has the answer to this. But I'll never get this opportunity to have so many important people who's working in the supply chain. But for someone who's trying to get the private sector to engage in the supply chain when we're creating sanitation markets, how do you get the private sector to actually care about this? Because that is one of the main negotiating points when we're sitting down with them. Like, how do you bring them to the table to talk about sanitation, especially if you're not directly producing, let's say, sanitary products?
Okay, so perhaps, Pova, if you have any reflection, then maybe another person.
I think that, if you talk about the economic solutions of sanitary wares for the mass people, my answer would be, it's a competitive market. The Shine and other bathware and sanitary wares, we are not producing only. There are many competitors. To make 5% net profit after doing hardship job or business, right? So I think that market is competitive, and that is why the product is so economic. And I'm sure that most of the people nowadays can buy the sanitary products for their sanitation system. That's for sure. I have never heard that nowadays price would be big issues. Issue is not knowing the things properly. If we can make them know that how they should do the things properly, I think that is the gap. That is the gap, but price is not that much. Yes, price was issue before, but it's no more that much.
That's very good.
Can I add a little?
Yes, please.
Well, if you visit the stalls, you will find definitely a RFL stall that there are a lot of innovative technologies are there. iTrap, VTrap, many innovative technologies are there. And at rural level or in urban context, that product is easily can be installed. And but the problem is sometimes people think that these are very expensive, and traditional toilet that slab ring are much cheaper, but prices are somewhat almost similar, and nowadays people can afford and buying these RFL made Sato pan, iTrap, VTrap as well. And the question about this private sector. So RFL under this private sector umbrella, RFL is not the only private sector. Like there are other private entities, like from WSUP, they are working with operators, private operators. Like we are actually working on to promote these informal groups, worker groups, and we develop their cooperatives and making them their, trying to develop their private business. So that these people are actually underprivileged. Their pay scale is like hardly 200 taka per day. So they are actually working in any municipality on a daily basis. If they get work, they can earn, otherwise they do not. So if formal context is, identity is created, then they will also be able to get some finance from Ministry of Labor, Welfare Fund. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to access this, that fund. So, and if they can develop their business structure in a way that if they feel interested to borrow loan from any commercial bank, then they need to provide their trade license and other necessary documents. So in this way, we can make them also, make them their business sustainable. So, to make it short, private, by the private sector, by saying private sector, there are many entities are there. So we need to consider accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So yes, the last question.
Yeah, too many questions to the RFL managing director, so I'm asking another question to another person.
Thank you very much. I was going to ask. Excellent.
Yes, to the government representative we have, DPHE. I remember you have shown 4 models in your presentation, which is really very interesting. Do you have any research or analysis on cost-benefit analysis regarding each of the models, that which model, you have already recommended one, the 4th one owned by government and managed by private sector, I remember. But is there any cost-benefit analysis? Because you know this time is funding decreases, government stopping the funding, there are lots of foreign aid it's stopping. So we are thinking about cost benefits and efficiency in terms of expenditures. So the CapEx and OpEx is very important for those things. So any analysis you can support us giving so that for our future planning, that would be very, very much helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your valuable questions, I think. So actually, we have all the analysis because during the development of the developing the government projects, like during the DPP periods and everything. So we need to provide all the analysis to the development banks. So the return of investment. So to analyze, to provide them this information, we need to do the back-end calculations. And we have a separate person, like we have a separate business development expert in ourselves. So we did all the things. I think you can send me, or anyone can send me an email so we can share details. It can be valuable for your project development. Thank you.
Related to these questions, I have one suggestion for DPHE and WSUP both. Whenever you are thinking of any model, right? So please take private sector also as part of your research, right? So that we can tell you exactly how much money you might need it and how to do the distribution channel, right? And supply chain, the madam said that the supply chain part, if once we are ready for that supply chain part, you know, your project will be implemented very fast and smooth, right? So in my last 20 years experience, I have found that government has thought of wonderful ideas, but they have never thought how to manage supply chain. Then all of a sudden they came to us that I need million pieces of these and that. Then we overnight we invest a lot. Then after 5 years, 10 years, they said that we stop this project. So then all the capex that we built up, right, go in vain, right? So when agencies like you have to think about also commercial part, right? So that corporate never feels embarrassed in investing and never feel hesitant to invest also for the mass problem solutions.
Thank you, well noted. And we need all the private sector actually, because I think you already know about the transformative sanitation technologies, and Lixil is already working on the generation 2 transformative sanitation toilet. So I think they will introduce this toilet in Bangladesh. Hopefully, Gates Foundation, they have provided sort of funding to doing all the research, and the Georgia Tech already developed that sort of toilets. I think PRAN-RFL, Lixils, and other private sector will help us to scale up this type of transformative technology in urban and rural sectors. And we also need a different kind of models for household level implementation of this type of on-site solutions. So well noted, sir. So I will pass forward your comments. Thank you.
I don't have a last question. No, I think Toby has answered it. You haven't got a mic, Maya. Do you need a mic? I think you might. So, I think, can we have a round of applause for our panelists, and we will allow them to get down from that very exposed position, and please be comfortable. Thank you so much to our panelists. We were to have closing reflections from our chair, who was Mr. Abu Kaisa Khan of the Public-Private Partnership Authority. But unfortunately, he was called to another meeting, so we will have reflections from this chair with a small c. I'm going to close this session very briefly with a very brief summary and a very brief thank you. Just to remind you, right at the beginning of this session, we talked about a WaterAid study, an analysis of sanitation service models across countries in Africa and South Asia. We're going to go away, take the experience and the learning from this workshop and incorporate that into our methodological thinking. So thank you, firstly, for supporting us and helping us, and we will try to make it useful. Second thing, we then went into the group activities, and I want you to give yourself a round of applause because you did that group activities so well. You did it superbly. And it's a simple activity to do. I encourage you to take it away and use it in your own workshops. It really works. Try it. Thank you for that. I want to encourage you to take a look at publications about some of the excellent models we have seen talked about in this study, and that includes WSUP's sweep model, which is a really fascinating and innovative approach to financing pit emptying services for the urban poor. So please do look at WSUP's website and take a look at that. Saledin's work from Practical Action was also fascinating. Again, please do check out their website, have a look at that. And I wanted to say a particular thank you to Toby. I do have another question for you, but I will ask it personally afterwards because you are all falling asleep now. I wanted to ask you how you will extend this thinking to rural context. I'll ask you about that later. Mr. R.M. Paul, thank you. You were the star of the show. Everybody wanted to ask you questions. It's been a great pleasure to have you here. And you said NGOs. You need to engage, you need to think about the private sector, you need to think about commercial part. Okay, so can I give you a challenge as well, from NGOs to Mr. Paul? Please think about the sanitation chain, what happens beyond the toilet, and think how your company and other companies can help Bangladesh with that enormous problem. If that is okay to put a suggestion to you. And finally, I wanted to give one final thank you to a really important person who is Vida, who came all the way from Ghana and presented and spoke on our panel at last minute about her different but related context. So thank you so much, Vida. And thank you to everybody for your participation in the